Why did the people that make this phone tell this poor guy that his phone could not be made to power on when it needed a screen? They didn't tell him, we refuse to put a screen on your phone because of water damage. They didn't say that. They told him that he had a logic board problem, that he couldn't be made to power on. That's what their diagnostic tools said. Apple Store, Apple Authorized Repair, the people that made the phone have lied to this customer. They have flat out told him the wrong thing. He could have gone to the corner shop and gotten a screen and not had to deal with any of this mess. I'm not sure what's worse, Apple lying to him and telling him that this phone doesn't turn on, or him sending it to the Apple, I don't even know what to call it, sending it to the company that Apple tells you to go to when you're desperate, when you're in need of data recovery. And he did mail it to them physically. They had it in their hands. They didn't even open it. They didn't check to see, oh, hey, look, it looks like it's charging. Maybe it's just a screen. They didn't do that. They did what they always do for every single iPhone that I've ever heard about, which is hundreds that have gone to this company. They always quote these iPhones thousands of dollars, no matter what's wrong with them. Drivesavers told this young man that if he wanted to get his data back, he needed to pay them $2,800 for a screen replacement for an iPhone XS Max. That's why you have to consider Authorized Repair, Apple Store, Drivesavers. You got to think about them with the same skeptical mindset that you do when you see a guy changing screens out of the back of a truck. One is not better than the other. Some of the best people in data recovery, and there are hundreds of fantastic technicians that are working out of their homes that can recover data from this phone, that love logical reasoning, that love solving puzzles. There are amazing people that you can send your phone to when you need data recovery. So how do you find these guys? You have to be skeptical of independent repair. You have to also be equally skeptical of authorized repair, because both of them are lying to you and both of them have the potential to really steer you in the wrong direction. So what are you supposed to do? Read reviews, talk to people, get local recommendations, call up and talk to people. Find someone that can answer the phone and you can develop a personal relationship with. Stay away from big companies. Look for somebody near you that has a lot of reviews, that has a clear experience in electronics repair, and go to them, especially if you need data. All right, that's it. Another thumbs down for so-called authorized repair. And I'd like to know in the comments, which one do you think is worse? Apple saying this phone cannot power on, lie, or Drivesavers saying $2,800 screen replacement for a XS Max. Let me know what you think. Hey there, I want to talk to you guys about this phone because this phone makes me really angry. I know that there is a lot of places that you can go get your phone fixed and they're going to do a bad job. And I have no argument about that. There are bad people out there doing bad repair. But what you may not know is that the people that make your phone, Apple, and authorized repair isn't necessarily therefore good. And time again, I see phones that are completely not what Apple said was wrong with them, or they're just lying to you all the time. This isn't just a, hey, with this one weird phone. I see this constantly. Littered around me right now are, here's a phone here that Apple says, something was wrong with it that was actually a 6 milliamp short on the charge IC. I've got one over here that Apple erased because the guy wanted data and they tried to, recover it or with an update, and they ended up erasing it, even though he wanted his data and he asked them not to do that. So this phone here, though, in particular, makes me really upset. I'm going to try to just give you the facts and let you make your own decision. This is what happened when Jahi Lee went to go get data recovered from his iPhone XS Max, and he needed to get it fixed in order to do that. So here's what Jahi has to say. All right, so he says that his screen cracked a few months ago, and there is a crack in the screen. That is true. There's a tempered glass on it, and there is a crack back here. So he says that his screen cracked a few months ago, but the phone still worked fine at the time. He recently brought it to the bathroom last week, and he found it exposed to liquid for some reason. So this is what happened. The screen turned green at first, and he couldn't control the phone by touching the screen, so he couldn't unlock it. Then the screen turned black and won't power on. Now that is something that does happen to wet iPhone XS Max. What happened next? He took the phone to the Apple Store. So he took it to the people who made the phone, expecting for them to be the authority on what is wrong with his phone and what his options are. And the technicians there said that it could not power on. So the Apple Store told him that this phone could not power on.
Then we brought it to an Apple Store the other day, and they tried to track if it can be powered on or not. And after some examinations, the technician guy told me that unfortunately they could not power it on.
So you went to a retail Apple store, with the Apple logo on it, and what Apple store was that?
Palo Alto, the one at Palo Alto.
I would think that they would know what they're talking about there. So they took the phone in the back?
No, they just brought another working computer to me and then plug in the lines and to see if it can be powered on or not. So they didn't actually tear it up.
Okay, so they didn't open it. So they plugged it into something, and they looked you in the eye and they said, this phone can't turn on.
Yeah.
How did they know that it didn't just need a new screen?
I don't really know. I was completely lost on the night and the other day. The only thing I could do at that time was just rush to an Apple Store and ask them for help.
Sure, for sure. That's what I would have done too. I would have thought that they would know, right? Okay, so then you realize, oh my gosh, it's not backed up.
Yeah, right. So there was something very complicated reasons. That's why I cannot. I don't have a backup for this phone, and since they couldn't be powered on. That guy told me they have a paired partner called.
So they said they have a data recovery partner, Drivesavers. So Apple told you to send the phone to Drivesavers.
Right.
So Apple told him, in their authority, what you should do, Jahi, is you should send this phone to Drivesavers. So that's what he did. He physically mailed it to Drivesavers, which is a data recovery company that sometimes fixes phones. They said it was physically damaged, which it is, and they said that to recover the data from this phone, as they held it in their hand and looked at it and said, you know what we can do for you? They said this will be $2,800 at least. $2,800 to recover the data from Jahi's XS Max. If I were him, I asked them to return my phone. If I were him, I would ask them to return my phone as well. And then I would give up because I've been to the authority, Apple. They make the phone. Who better than them to know what is wrong with the phone? And if they're telling me that they don't recover data, fair enough. If they're going to tell me that I need to send it to somewhere else, I would expect that to be the truth. I would expect that if they say it doesn't power on, that it doesn't power on, and that they're not lying to me, because they should know. They are Apple. So I send it to the people that Apple says I should send it to. And if they tell me that this phone has physical damage and therefore to recover the data from this is going to cost $2,800, I would think that's going to be really hard, and that's the price. Right? Jahi, through I don't know what kind of miracle, he decided to question that authority, and here is his phone. We're going to find out what's really wrong. Now, I'm making a video. I have not opened up this phone. I don't know what's wrong with this phone. But from his description, I suspect that this is a straightforward data recovery. So let's find out. Step one, I'm going to unscrew the two bottom screws in the phone. Presumably, this is what they would have done at Drivesavers and possibly also at the Apple Store in order to tell him that the phone could not be made to turn on. Presumably, the Apple Store would attach it to a DC power supply or put in a new battery or do some sort of troubleshooting in order to make the claim that this phone cannot be made to turn on. I'm going to separate the screen from the housing. I can tell from the amount of pressure that I'm having to apply to separate this screen that I'm the first one that has broken this seal. I am now breaking with my fingers the OEM adhesive. No one has separated this screen before. And you can see the adhesive is still there. I am the one that is cutting this adhesive. This screen has never been taken off before. All right, now let's go ahead and unscrew the couple of screws, take the screen off. Now I'm going to disconnect the battery. And now I'm going to fully disconnect the screen. And I'm going to disconnect the front flex, which leads to the ear speaker and flood illuminator, ambient light sensor, proximity sensor. Okay, there's an adhesive right here that I need to loosen. To be able to pull up that flex. So I just broke that adhesive as well. All right, so I am now separating and lifting up the screen. Screen's off. I suspect that this phone does turn on, and the reason that I suspect that is that even without a screen, with that battery plugged in, I can take the iPad Rehab USB ammeter, which is connected to a standard charger and a MFI Anchor branded cable. It does say hands off Mark's cable. Don't tell him. He doesn't watch the channel, so I think I can get away with it. All right? When I plug this cable in to ask the question, does this 10S Max actually charge with this battery here? I can see 1.5 amps of charging current going into the phone. So in order for this phone to be able to consume normal charging current, that tells me that this phone is pretty alive. Maybe it's got a display problem. Maybe it's got some sort of reason why it doesn't appear to turn on. But this phone is able to charge. So it's likely completely turned on. And that saying this phone can't power on doesn't sound like the truth at all. But let's find out. I'm going to take a brand new iPhone XS Max screen. This is an aftermarket screen. It is not an Apple branded screen. This is the screen that we prefer to use. All right, so I've simply plugged in the screen. Now I'm going to connect the battery back again. With this screen on, bring over our charger, and let's prompt this phone to turn on with the USB charging cable. All right, I see an Apple logo. The phone does indeed boot up. It powers on just fine. It has touch. It's dim because the ambient light sensor, like I mentioned, is on that flex that I haven't transferred over. Let's turn up the brightness. There we go. This phone is totally fine. There's nothing wrong with it. There doesn't appear to be any reason in the world why why did the people that make this phone tell this poor guy that his phone could not be made to power on? So I'm calling you and I'm asking you all these questions because your phone, it makes me very angry. And the reason it makes me angry is because what is wrong with your phone is a very simple problem. It needs a screen, and that is it. The only thing wrong is the screen. And so, how do you feel about that?
I agree. I am getting angry as well. It's like...
Yeah, I'm getting angry for you.
Yeah, it was like, oh my God. I never thought it would be like, this is how the story goes. I mean...
Right. I mean, from the description, it sounds like, okay, that's how they turn green and they stop working. That's what happens when you get a screen wet. And then it's dark, you know. But I would think if you went to the Apple store, they would put a screen on it. And they didn't do that. And the dumb tool that they plugged in is completely useless. So they're lying to you. It doesn't not power on. It powers on just fine. Just stick a screen on it. And then they tell you to send it to this crazy expensive place who had it in their hand, and they knew it turned on. Come on, you know, they recover data, and they told you $2,800 to stick a screen on it and take the data off. That's so wrong. And
oh my God. I'm so astonished now, and I don't know what to say.
Yeah, you're in shock, right?
I have to thank you. Thank you so much for telling me.
Yeah, well, I'm going to make a video about this one because this is outrageous, and I think that when something like this happens to your phone, of course you're going to go to Apple because they made the phone, and you're desperate and you want the best information, and you're going to assume, of course, that the people that made the phone are going to be the ones that know the most about it. And you don't expect to be lied to. And then when they tell you to send it to this expensive place, you think, okay, I guess it has some deep problem. And it's just a total scam. Like I think more people should be aware of that. So that's why I wanted to call you to find out if maybe, I don't know, you went to an Apple store that was really like corner store and a guy said it was Apple. So it was a legit Apple store where you can buy a MacBook right now, right?
Right, exactly. I'm like, oh my God, this was, I spent like a lot of time on that because after I sent you the phone, I have to get a new one and to like set up all the things and get for the new phone. And
no, you don't. This phone's fine. I'm going to stick a screen on it, and it's, you know, don't ever buy it. Go return that phone.
Oh my God.
I would be so mad at them.
I just thought it what to say at this moment. It's just ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. It is. And you should absolutely you have every right to be really mad about this. That's really, really not cool. All right, well, I'm going to put a screen on this. I'm going to just bill you for a screen replacement because that's what this phone needs. And then, I'll email you on the ticket so that we can kind of put this all back together. But I don't think that there's anything else wrong with the phone. I will take a deep look under the microscope and let you know whether or not it's a good idea for you to use it or not. See if I see water in it or not. But my instinct says this is just a screen all along. And I'm going to make a video so that we can try and help other people at least look around and don't just take what the Apple authorized people tell you as the gospel truth, because Apple lied to you.
We have to do that. And please also send me the link, and also I'm going to post it from my social media as well.
Okay. All right. Well, overall, though, it's good news. So this phone's you're gonna get back all the data, and it's gonna be.
Oh my God, that means so much to me. I know there's a lot up there, so when I send a request, I didn't expect too much. I was thinking as long as I can get some important things, that will be thank God.
Yeah.
But I never expect this.
Yeah.
Well,
yay! All right. Well, I love being able to give people good news. So, yay! All right. I've got a customer up front, so I got to go. But I'll wrap this one up, and then you'll hear from us on the ticket. Okay?
Right. I'm so. To call me back if you're having other things to talk about, or just email me. Everything goes away.
Will do. All right. And I'm sorry that happened to you. That's so infuriating. All right. Take care and enjoy the rest of your day. All right. Bye bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye bye.
All right, so for anybody that questions, I believe her, and I feel really sorry that I thought she was a man. I believe her, and Apple totally straight up lied to her. Drivesavers totally quoted her $2,800 for a screen replacement. Those are the facts of this case, and that's all I got to say about it.